Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sports Fanatic. We got some big news that just dropped recently. My name is John. I just want to get right into this. I want to rip this bandage off. I am so excited for what just happened, and I can't wait to see what else the Chargers pull out. First thing, major thing that happened in free agency for the Chargers, J.C. Jackson. We signed J.C. Jackson. We have our starting cornerback. What a deal that they just pulled off. 5 years, $85 million. This was broken by Ian Rappaport. From the looks of it, we got $40 million in the first 2 years and $28 million in the first year. And you might be worrying a little bit, oh, did we spend too much on him, this, that. There was rumors that he originally wanted Jalen Ramsey money, which is somewhere around $20 million a year. Thankfully, we got him for less. I'd say this is a huge steal. And one major reason why I think it's such a big steal is the cap is going to grow, especially with COVID ending. This cap's going to grow. It's going to build. We already saw it jump a couple million here this year, more than it was originally expected. Great news. It's going to grow, especially with the Mike Williams signing too. He had a bunch on the last year. The cap's going to grow. This ain't going to be as big of a problem, and that is great news. We got a steal, I would argue, for J.C. Jackson. He's going to be our starting cornerback. So why should you be excited? Well, let me tell you real quick. If you aren't already excited, then let's get the juices flowing. Let's get you hype. He's 6'1", 198 pounds. And that, if you don't realize, is a bigger body over there at cornerback. Mike Davis is 6'2", and a lot of people say that he's a big cornerback over there, and that is just great news. He can match up well. We have Mike Davis out there on those big like Mike Evans, things of that nature, and then we got another bigger dude, quick, always getting interceptions. I mean, he's called Mr. Int for a reason. So he got 17 interceptions in the past 2 years, and the Chargers only had 23 in that same amount of time. That is big news. And the biggest thing is that's one player got 17 interceptions. The Chargers had 23. The entire defense, everyone, safeties, linebackers, defensive line, everyone in total had 23, while just J.C. Jackson by himself had 17. That is a huge improvement. Remember, we had Anthony Lynn. All he wanted was, hey, we got to win the turnover battle. And, I mean, he was right. He was right, and Staley is doing everything he can. Staley made a huge improvement last year on that O-line, and looks like he's committing to defense like he said he was, and he is doing great. Another thing, J.C. Jackson had 58 tackles, 44 of them being solo, and that is huge. Mike Davis, if I look over here in my notes, Mike Davis had 54 and 42 solo, and Michael Davis was the best cornerback for us. There's only a couple other people above him, Kaiser White, Derwin James, stuff like that. But those are all going to be people that you expect, your safeties, linebackers, things of that nature. So for J.C. Jackson coming on this team, he's going to immediately help with our tackling over there on the cornerback. It's going to be the best there. And we're still going to have Mike Davis and Asante Samuel. Another thing, he had 23 pass deflections, which is the first in the league for this past year. And he was second in interception, just behind Trevon Diggs. I think Trevon Diggs had 11. J.C. Jackson had 8 this year. So he was second in the league in that. First in pass deflections. Just huge improvements for this team. And I can't wait to see how it keeps going. What this allows for the team, the biggest thing for me is Asante Samuel Jr. developing. He looked great. He had his little injury, which sucked, but he looked good, especially in that Chiefs game. He had that diving interception. And I just think adding J.C. Jackson makes Asante better immediately, because then he's not focusing on some of those best wide receivers. And we got Michael Davis for the bigger bodies. I think we can shift Asante Samuel into the slot cornerback, and I think that will help him a lot, especially if he can move quick and he can jump and dive for those interceptions. I think Asante with J.C. Jackson is going to get a lot of interceptions if it gets moving. And one big thing is this going to allow for more blitzes, whether that's man blitz, which I think J.C. Jackson improves this team's man defense. I could see a lot of man defense out of this team. but just blitzing in general because the wide receivers aren't going to get open as quick. Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, whoever else, if we get Akeem Hicks or whomever, is just going to have more time to chase down that QB, and it's going to be great because those wide receivers are going to be locked up. That is huge, especially with Joey Bosa. All these years he was getting doubled. Now he won't get doubled as much. So more one-on-ones for Joey Bosa, more time to get after the quarterback. Just great news. Another thing, similar to the blitzing, we can diversify the packages of our defense. So maybe we have, similar to the Ravens game in the playoffs, a lot of cornerbacks. So we can do that now. We can load up that box heavily if we want to do that and have some one-on-ones over on the sides. Just this opens up the defense a lot. Move Derwin in the box because you don't got to worry about covering someone over top as much. This just does a lot for us. And another thing is it saves a pick. And you might think pick interception, but I'm referring to in the draft. You don't have to so much as use those early rounds on a cornerback or take a couple cornerbacks late, trying to get a gem because you have J.C. Jackson. So now that early round, you have a wide receiver follow you grab him, you get a right guard because I heard there's rumors of wanting a right guard. You can go ahead and grab the right guard, and you're not too worried about your cornerbacks at the time, which is great news. One quick thing that I did forget to mention back here, we'll go back to it. Why to be excited? J.C. Jackson is only 26 years old, and that is great news. We quickly made our defense younger, which is what I was really worried about when we got Khalil Mack. So this is great news. Now we got Mike Davis, Asante, Samuel, and J.C. Jackson, a bunch of younger DBs that can go out there and can play. They're not going to get burnt like Casey Hayward did for us, and hopefully they're not getting hurt as much, and so we don't got to worry about Chris Harris. As long as we can get everyone healthy, that is going to be great news for us. So back to where we were, we save a pick, and another thing is there's going to be pressure off Herbert, spelled off wrong, but Herbert is hopefully not going to have to go score as many touchdowns because our defense is not going to allow as many touchdowns. And that's huge news because Herbert doesn't have to force that deep ball. Herbert's not having to worry about, I got to make sure that we're getting quick plays. We're not burning a bunch of clock. Herbert can play his game. He does great under pressure. We all saw that in the Raiders game. But now he doesn't have to do it every single week. And that is huge, huge news for Herbert. And that, did I miss anything? Look over here. Sante the slot. Got that. Sante can learn. Kind of covered that. More pressure for Bosa. Yeah, pressure off Herbert is going to be a big thing. Not going to need as many points. Hopefully we can win games getting 3 touchdowns, and that can be it. But obviously I want Herbert to get more touchdowns. I want Herbert to get MVP, and I think he's capable of it. And I think everyone else knows that. So we got a tweet right here. Derwin James, obviously very hype. We saw him. It looks like, I believe Tyrann Mathieu just over to his side. J.C. Jackson, Derwin James got along very well at the Pro Bowl, and I think that is a big reason. I think Derwin James probably came back to the Chargers and said, hey, we need this guy. Let's go get this guy. And as you can see, retweeted by Ian Rappaport, posted on Twitter by Derwin James. Let's fucking go. And that is great. Great. Love to see that Derwin James is excited. And I'm assuming I haven't seen any other posts by the rest of the team, but I'm assuming everyone else on this team is very excited. And I hope that this team just finds a way to battle and win these tight games and go make that deep playoff run, which we all think that they're capable of. Hype. We should be hype. The whole NFL should be hype because it's just more competition, better games. And I'd say Derwin's obviously hype. We just saw his tweet on that last slide. If you didn't know, Derwin and him were on the same team in high school. And that's probably why Derwin is so close with him. So they already kind of have chemistry, know how to work with each other. And that is very good news. Another thing, which I didn't write up here, is money. We saved money on him. We got a pretty good steal, which allows us to go out and get our more improvement on that defense. And I would love to see more improvement because it's already insane. Another thing is the QB competition should be scared. They should be scared. You got Russell Wilson. He thought he was going to come over here and have control. Well, now he's going to wish he was back in Seattle because that O-line ain't going to protect him when all of his wide receivers locked up. You got right here, you see him, Patrick Mahomes. At first, we thought he was falling off at the beginning of last year. He turned it around. He proved that he's still a great, great top 5 QB in this league. I'm obviously not a fan of him because I'm a Chargers fan, but you can't ignore how good this guy is. But, keyword but, when you got Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa coming off you on both ends, J.C. Jackson going up and locking up your wide receiver, Derwin James over top, probably got Derwin over on Travis Kelce or some of that nature, Kaiser White over there, J.C. Jackson on Tyreek Hill. Tyreek's going to beat him on a quick route, but you're not going to run that all game. Even Patrick Mahomes should be worried. And then you got Derek Carr. They beat us in the last game of the year, so I don't want to take too much credit off him, but Derek Carr's arguably the worst in this division at this point, AFC West. And he should be scared too. I mean, you don't know what they've done. They haven't made any huge splash, and I could see him doing it, especially with how much competition there is in this AFC West. But QB should be scared, and the Chargers got to prove it. That's the big thing. They got to prove it. You can't just prove, hey, you got to be scared because look at us on paper. Paper means nothing. It's on the field, and the Chargers got to prove it. New Chargers. This front office has turned it around. It used to be never spending money, never building an O-line. Philip Rivers ran for his life. That man can't really run that fast, and he was always running because they didn't build an O-line. Some great defenses the Chargers had, but they really never went and made a splash. I mean, Chris Harris, Brian Bulaga, those are some big splashes, and like they weren't even that big, if we're being honest. So this is great news. The Chargers are really taking a step in the right direction, and I think it's time to go get that Super Bowl that this franchise needs and wants. And I think it's time, especially with Justin Herbert being on this short, cheap option as a on his rookie deal. So I think it's time, and I think they're proving that they know that. And one more thing is we have LA competition. Rams just won the Super Bowl last year. Everyone knows that. Matthew Stafford, huge fan of him since he was Lions. Glad that he went and got it. But remember when the Chargers first moved to LA, it was, which LA team is better? And with the Rams winning a Super Bowl, they kind of swiped the Chargers out. And I think most of the fans went over to the Rams and said, hey, I'm a Rams fan now because I live here in LA and the other team's not good enough. And I think the Chargers have proven, hey, we're still here. We might have had a little hiccup last year, but we are still here and we are still going to compete. And we're going to prove that, hey, the Rams aren't the end-all be-all. And I'm happy to see it. I personally don't live in the LA area or anything like that, so it's not a big thing for me, but I always see, especially when they first moved, hey, LA competition, which LA team's better? And at one point last year, early year, I actually predicted an LA versus LA Super Bowl in LA. Sadly, the Chargers ended up tripping on themselves a little bit halfway through the season towards the end there. But the Rams did make it, and I think it's still possible at some point. But the Chargers got to prove what they can do, and I think they can do it. I think they can make Super Bowl. I think they can win the Super Bowl. And we got to see it happen. It doesn't matter how much I preach it. It doesn't matter how many times Chargers fans preach it. It just has to happen. It does. It means nothing. Word of mouth means nothing. Patriots, if the Patriots would have lost some more Super Bowls, and you were sitting there as a Patriot fan, but they were so close. It would mean nothing. But they did win them, and that's why everyone hates the Patriots / admires the Patriots. You're on one side or the other. When you're that good, you have an opinion on them. And I want the Chargers to be that good where everyone has an opinion on them. All right, what's next? What's next, you might ask? We just signed J.C. Jackson. We just traded for Khalil Mack. Big news. What's next? Other free agents. We got Hakeem Hicks. We got Bobby Wagner. And we got plenty of options. Joseph Day. We can go out get another guard, tackle. Brought up in my last video for the offense. We can go get a running back. we have money to spend still, and I think we got to go spend it. And I wouldn't be surprised if I go end this video, go look at my phone, and I got to start another video because some crazy thing broke on Twitter. But we got to keep moving. I brought up on my last video, I want to say that there was a tweet that I saw. It was a stat. Whichever team spends the most money wins another 3 games the next year. And if the Chargers do that, you're in playoffs. So keep spending that money, and just it's going to work if you put enough effort and thoughts into it. And I think Staley and Tom Telesco can do it. And I hope they don't shy away from it because they've already shown massive improvement. Then we got the draft. Draft coming up, like I said, you save a pick, sort of, with J.C. Jackson. So maybe you can go get a wide receiver, right guard. I heard rumors that they're going to get a right guard. I heard D-tackle probably won't be picked at 17 now anymore. I'm not so much upset at that, especially if they go pick up Hicks. But I'd like to see a young lineman added to the defense. But I think I think they have options now in the draft. And I was worried that they were going to be locked up, but they've proven me wrong. Scheme, like I brought up, might be able to blitz more. I think we can do a lot more, man. Derwin James, Asante Samuel, J.C. Jackson. I don't know who else they'll bring in. Kaiser White's not bad at it. Drew Tranquil. I think you can run some more man. I think you can run some more zone. We ran a lot of zone last year. I think that kind of hurt us because people could figure out our scheme. I think running some man, get some blitzes in, throw some weird obscure packages, drop Joey into zone, stuff like that. I think we can do that now with this improvement, and I'd love to see how Staley diversifies. We saw some of the crazy stuff he was doing over there with Donald, with Jalen Ramsey, and all of their safeties and corners. And I think he can do that now, and I think that's what he was kind of planning to do. Fourthly, turnovers. Like I brought up earlier, it was preached over and over by Anthony Lynn. Hey, you got to win the turnover battle, you're going to win the games. And we can do that now with J.C. Jackson. I mean, by himself, he had 8 interceptions last year. The Chargers' other cornerbacks only had 4. So he doubled all the cornerbacks of the Chargers last year by himself. So I think we can go win those turnover battles, and I'm very happy for it. And now, lastly, the AFC Takeover, primarily the AFC West Takeover. That AFC West is getting stacked. Russell, Patrick, Herbert, Carr, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Frank Clark, Travis Kelce, Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill, Jerry Jeudy. I don't know if Melvin Gordon's going to resign. Don't know if he has already or not. You know, there is people everywhere. Darren Waller. There is people everywhere in the AFC West. And I think the AFC West imprints down as, hey, we're the best section in the league. There was always AFC West, NFC West. Sometimes you'd hear the NFC North with the Packers. I don't think they're as good anymore. But it's going to be a tight competition, and I think the rest of the AFC is taking over the NFC too with the quarterback development. I don't know what happens with Deshaun Watson, but the NFC right now, they got Tom back. That's big, but it's like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. We don't really know who the 49ers is going to be. Well, I guess we do, but they haven't traded Jimmy yet. So, I mean, Carson Wentz. It's just a lot of young dudes. Justin Fields, all of them. Just a lot of young people. I think the AFC starts to take over a little bit. I think they have a couple good years here while everyone's developing over on the NFC side. And I think the AFC starts to just really, really have tough games and win them over the NFC. And I'm happy to see it because a buddy of mine always fights over which side's better. And I think the AFC can put their foot down and prove it. So thank you if you tuned in. I hope my mic was better. Not sure really what happened last time. My thought is maybe I was too close. Hopefully I'm not too close now. I backed up a little bit. I hope it worked. But I am excited for what this team is doing. I'm super excited for J.C. Jackson. And I got to go check my Twitter because they've probably done something different now. And maybe we got Akeem Hicks. Maybe we got Bobby Wagner. Maybe we got everyone else in the entire free agency pool? I don't know. And I'm excited to go see it. So thank you for tuning in. My name is John, and this is the Sports Advocate. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope I did something good for you, made you smile, made you learn something. Have a great day.